I got a call from my past client, James. His mom had just passed away. The house was in Pearl City, held in a trust, and it had a reverse mortgage on it. His sister lived in Japan, and the house was filled with decades of belongings. Furniture, memories, everything. He said I had no idea where to even start. Here's what James was dealing with. First, the reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage is typically for people 62 years and older who want to pull out cash from their house, from their equity, without having to pay the mortgage or monthly payments on it. It allows them to use the equity as they need, and then they can pay it back later when they're selling the home, moving out, or pass away. A lot of families don't realize this, but when the borrower passes away, heirs typically have about 6 months to settle the loan. You have 2 possible 90-day extensions if you're actively working towards a sale. Miss the deadline and you're looking at foreclosure even if you fully intend to sell. And the worst part, interest continues to accumulate through this whole process. Second, the property is held in a trust, a living trust, which is actually good news. It means we could bypass probate entirely, but it also means that we need to verify trustee's authority, pull the right documents, and make sure every step is done correctly. Third, his sister in Japan. Any decisions, any signatures, any communication, all of it had to work across 19-hour time difference. Fourth, the house itself. Decades of belongings. Before we could even think about listing, that all had to be sorted. You know, people think of realtors as the people you call when you're ready to sell, and I get that. But James wasn't ready. He was overwhelmed. He was grieving. He had a situation that most people wouldn't even know how to explain, let alone solve. And yet, that's the call we love to get, because we're here so we can actually make a difference. So when I heard everything James was dealing with, the first thing I thought of was, okay, where do we start? The first thing I did after we got the call from James was say, hey, let's meet at the house so I can get a full perspective of what we're dealing with. I asked him to bring some of the documentation, but most importantly, I just really want to get a sense of what James was feeling and going through. One of the major steps we had in preparing the house before we could even fix it up was the decluttering. There was years of memories in the home. So we worked through with him for the family to take out what was valuable, important, memorable for them. And then we helped bring in a crew to help take out the rest of the items for them. And that actually relieved a lot of stress for them. James had no idea what to do with the reverse mortgage. And it does feel a little overwhelming when you have a bank calling you and saying, hey, a note is due on this right now. So I told him, it's not anything to be that concerned about as long as we get in contact with the bank. I had him bring me the detailed information regarding the bank, and I connected with them. They're very good about working with realtors as long as we stay in close communication. When we were doing an analysis of the property, I did give James the 3 different valuations. One is if it was as is, one if we did some fix up, and one if we did major fix ups. I think it was a lot for James to process, so him and his sister talked about it. I think the key for most clients is it's not cheap to do a full renovation. You do get a great return on it, but it's, do you have the resources to do that? James really wanted to do the full remodel. So we chose that one, and we estimated it'd be at least $70,000 to upgrade it. We redid the kitchen, we redid the bath, all the flooring, painting in and out. There were lots of little things that needed to be done throughout, and we just took care of all of them. And it came around $70,000. We expected that it would help increase the valuation to about $150 to $160. By the time we finished and we looked at the comps, it actually, that $70,000 gave us a $200,000 in improvement in valuation. The question could be, how do you know that the $70,000 is going to end up to $150,000 in valuation to even start with? Part of it is really understanding the comparables, like what is out there in that neighborhood, what is the lowest things are selling for, what is the highest things are selling for, and then understanding what it costs to do these different projects. I have a lot of experience in this because I've helped lots of clients do projects, and the more you do, the more you get a general idea. So I'll play with the clients and say, hey, let's look at this, and this would be what it would cost, and this would be what the outcome is. And then I verify with the contractors that is what the cost is going to be. Having someone in another state, another country, nowadays is not that difficult. You just stay communicated. We were able to email her, we're able to do video calls with her, we're able to set up her signing with the consulate office, and they even have, escrow has ways to do signing remotely when you're out of the country. So it's not as hard when people are out of the country as you would think. It just takes a little planning. From when James called me till we got ready to list the home, it took about 3 months. After we listed the home, we put it on the market. We got 4 offers, most of them over asking. It was very competitive, and then we were able to close in another month. So the whole process beginning to end was 4 months. What I want you to hear in James's story isn't just the numbers, though $200,000 increase in value is significant. It's that he called me saying, I have no idea where to start. And 4 months later, the home was sold and that portion of the estate was settled. James and his sister could finally relax. That's what this work is really about. It's not just transaction, it's being able to help families get through a difficult process and get to the other side. If you're in a similar situation and felt a little bit of hope after hearing James's story, reach out for a free consultation. We'll look at your specific situation and give you a real plan like we did for James. The link is in the description, and if you want to hear more stories like these, hit the like button and subscribe to let me know. I'm Wong, and I'll see you at the next one.